Welcome back, true believer. Can't I get you anything? Some Merry Marvel Mayhem to get the old pulse pounding.
Hey there, true believers. Joshua Westbrook here, back with some more Merry Marvel Mayhem. Get the old pulse pounding. Spider-Man 2 just turned 20 years old, and I thought I'd go down memory lane and talk about my experience with that movie back when I first saw it when I was a little kid. So here we go. My As we saw in a previous video, as I told you in a previous video, my Spider-Man fan experience started after I saw the first Spider-Man movie on VHS. So by the time the sequel was rolling around, I was more than hyped. Um, I remember we had a dial-up computer like everybody else, and it wasn't the best with playing videos. So when the Spider-Man 2 trailer dropped, I watched it at like 1 frame per second. It was literally like inchy, like it, 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 like that's how I saw the Spider-Man 2 trailer. I was barely piecing it together. I was like, that's Doc Ock. Oh, this Spider-Man's back and Mary Jane, Harry, but like I couldn't, I couldn't really see what was going on because if you didn't have good internet back then, you had to go to the movie theater to see the trailer. But I was able to piece together. Oh, that's Doc Ock. Oh, he looks really cool. Oh, I was able to see because it started with the car. I remember the car bursting through the window when Peter and Mary Jane are at the restaurant. That was how the trailer started. Um, I can't remember exactly how the rest of the trailer went, but I remember distinctly it opening with Peter grabbing Mary Jane, jumping as the car breaks through the window. Anyway, we went to visit relatives, and they had a significantly better computer. And my mom's like, "Hey, you want to actually watch the Spider-Man 2 trailer? Here you go." She pulled it up for me, and oh my goodness, I finally got to see it in its full glory. But I remember the every trailer ended with Harry saying, "Let's see who's behind the mask," and pulling it off, and the story continues. July 2nd was when it was supposed to come out. That was the original date. I still have a poster that says July 2nd is because it tied in because the 2 and the old July 2nd, like it tied in perfectly. But then they moved it up to June 30th. So that was pretty cool. I was pretty hyped that they moved it earlier, but I'm not kidding when I say every single TV spot, every single trailer, every single piece of visual Spider-Man media, Spider-Man 2 media, the end of it was Harry saying, "Let's see who's behind the mask," and and pulling at his mask and it cutting right before just everybody like, "Oh, is he gonna do it? Is he actually gonna find out?" That was the biggest I guess mystery going into Spider-Man 2 was, oh, is Harry gonna figure out who Spider-Man is he gonna blame Peter for killing his father? That sort of deal. That was fun. The I remember the first poster is that one with Doc Ock standing on the building with all of his tentacles facing you. It's kind of a tragic story with this poster here because they had them at my school. They had a book fair going on, and you guys remember book fairs. I hope you remember book fairs. I think they still do them, where they sell all kinds of books and posters and stuff. They had the Spider-Man 2 poster there, and I wanted it so bad, and my brother wanted a SpongeBob poster, and so my mom gave us each $1 to get the posters, and so I went to the book fair and I saw the Doc Ock poster, and I'm like, oh shoot, let me get it. And then I grabbed it and I went up, and then the librarian's like, okay, it's $1.25. I'm like, it's $1.25. And so I luckily had a quarter in my pocket, so I had $1.25. But I knew for a fact my brother did not have 25 more cents, and and his birthday was coming up, and I knew he wasn't gonna be able to get that SpongeBob poster, but I wanted that Doc Ock poster so bad. I bought the Doc Ock poster, and we got home, and my brother's all sad, and my mom's like, "Well, you didn't get your poster?" He's like, "No, it was $1.25." And my mom looks at me with my poster like, "So how did you get your poster?" And I was like, "I had an extra quarter on me." She's like, "So you had that, and you knew that, and you knew your brother didn't, and you know his birthday's coming, and you got yourself that poster, and you didn't get your brother the SpongeBob poster." She made me feel all of the guilt, which I rightfully deserve because that wasn't very Spider-Man like of me. That wasn't very hero like of me to get myself the poster. So lesson learned there. I felt really bad, and ever since then I've put other people's gifts before my own pleasure when it comes to birthdays and Christmases and stuff. That was the day I learned that lesson. So, but you have to understand the Spider-Man 2 hype train was through the roof. Not nearly as through the roof as the Spider-Man 3 hype train, but I suppose we'll get to that in 2027. Um, but I was so excited for Spider-Man 2. The video game, oh, the Spider-Man 2 video game, which a lot of people to this day claim is the best Spider-Man game. Part of me thinks that's nostalgia talking because they've made a lot of improvements in Spider-Man games since Spider-Man 2, but it's still a really good game. Don't get it twisted. Spider-Man 2, especially back then, that was the first like open world really Spider-Man game. That was the bomb. I pre-ordered it, or I had my parents pre-order it because I was what, like 12 at the time. I think I don't know. I'm not gonna do that math at the moment, but the thing is, I pre-ordered it at Toys R Us. It was the first video game I ever pre-ordered because I didn't really know about video games and pre-ordering and all that. But I saw an ad for Toys R Us, and if you pre-ordered it, you got a free Spider-Man flashlight with it. And I was like, well, I want that flashlight. So I pre-ordered the game, and I got the flashlight to come with it. Yeah, I remember going to pick it up that night, like just before Toys R Us closed, because there was no one in there. The night of the 29th. The game came out the day before the movie, and so we went to get the game, and I got my flashlight. And some kid behind me was jealous, and I was happy that he was jealous. I was in my villain era in 2004. Okay, I was not I was not very heroic. I was I was kind of a bad guy. But I was like, oh, I have the Spider-Man 2 video game. And like holding the case in my hand, the Spider-Man 2 video game. Like look on the back and see Doc Ock and Spider-Man. It's like the feeling of elation I felt was bar none. And I had my flashlight, and I was super happy. I was super happy. And I got home, and this is summer vacation because it's June, so I didn't have school the next day, and then it was already late because, like I said, Toys R Us was closing. We barely got there in time. And then I'm like, "Oh, can I play?" My mom's like, "Okay, fine, you can play a little bit. Don't stay up too late." And so I was playing it, and just playing those missions, the Mr. Z's, the pizza mission. You guys know the pizza missions, and uh, it was around the time when Peter had to go. He's like, "Oh, I got to get to class, or I'm gonna be late." And he got to ESU, and then Dr. Connors met him outside. He's like, "Peter, you're late. You're never on time." Blah blah blah, all that. And even as a like 11, 12-year old, I'm sitting there looking at this game, and I'm like, you know what? This is like this might go into spoilers. I'm gonna go ahead and stop for the night. Like I'm so glad that as a kid I was aware enough to think this might spoil the movie that I'm gonna watch tomorrow. So maybe I should set this down for the night because that game when you get to the end it shows like Harry and Mary Jane figuring out who Peter is. Doc Ock dies, shows Rosie die. Like the game spoils the movie completely. So I'm glad I had enough like wherewithal in my younger self to have that self restraint to say, let me stop here and wait till I see the movie before I finish the game. Which was a good idea. Obviously, took a while to finish the game because frickin' Mysterio, and that's a long story. I didn't know I could charge my jump until a lot later in the game, even though they show you in the beginning you can charge your jump. I guess I was just too stupid. I don't know, but yeah, that was my I speaking of games that spoil the movie, the Amazing Spider-Man 1 video game took place, the story of that game took place after the movie, but the game came out a week before the movie. And I'm like, they're not gonna spoil anything. And, and the movie comes out a week later. Clearly, older me didn't have more sense than younger me because I started playing the Amazing Spider-Man 1 video game, and then like Gwen is yelling at Dr. Connors about something, that she's like, "Can you bring my father back?" And I'm like, okay. Maybe Captain Stacy went on a vacation. Maybe he got fired from the police department. Then, like, seconds later, Dr. Connor's like, "Peter, I murdered her father." I was like, okay, well, that sucks. That's great. All right, time to turn this off. I turned the Amazing Spider Man 1 game off, and I put it down and did not touch it for a week. I was so upset because I was so excited to play that game. But yeah, that was annoying. So yeah, younger me was smart enough to stop playing before I saw the movie. I saw the movie the next day. I remember my dad took me and my friend Julian at the time at 8 o'clock in the morning because I wanted to go to the very first show. I probably didn't know about midnight showings. There probably was a midnight showing I didn't know about, but I wanted to make sure I made it to the very first as early as possible. So we got there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and oh my goodness, like watching Spider-Man 2, hearing freaking not Single Fire. That's Spider-Man 3. Vindicated. I was selfish. I was wrong. I was right. I swear I knew it all along. That song. You know the song. Why am I forgetting the name of it? I can see it in me now. I thought I saw myself so clear. The diamond in the ring. I don't know. I'm blanking on the name, but that's just, it's gonna bother me. Let me look it up real quick. Vindicated. Yeah, I'm stupid. Yeah, that, of course, Vindicated, Dashboard Confessional. I loved that song. For a long time, it was my favorite song. How did I forget the name of it? I Vindicated. I was selfish. I was Vindicated. Vindicated.
That's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah. So yeah, hearing that song in the credits, seeing just the oh my goodness, the opening was Peter delivering the pizza. Whoa, he stole that guy's pizza! And getting reintroduced to the Daily Bugle. Doc Ock. Can I tell you? I was kind of a baby when I was a kid. During the hospital scene, when Doc Ock is throwing all the doctors around, I had my eyes closed. Not closed. I was like squinting and like doing this number, like peeking through, like oh, So I kinda saw it, but like it was horror. It was horrifying. Of course, figuring out Sam Raimi is a horror director years later makes those scenes like that make more sense. But I was a kid, and Doc Ock was tearing the place apart. I was like, ah, I don't want to look. I don't want to look. I don't want to look. I want to look, but I don't want to look. That was crazy. Ned, oh goodness, the train fight was epic. I thought it was wild when he took his mask off, but like I saw that in a trailer. I saw like him crowd surfing with his mask off. Like it was like that on a TV spot. That it was on TV as I was passing by, and I'm like, that has to be a dream sequence. He doesn't have his mask off in front of all those people, and he did, and it was on the train. But yeah, that was crazy. Um, I remember then, I will not die a monster. And Doc Ock drowning himself, and then like a young me, I was like, wow, that's the end of Doc Ock. We're never gonna see Doc Ock again. Little did I know that No Way Home was gonna come out, but like I was like I remember thinking like oh because like Doc Ock's a big Spider-Man villain. And then they killed him at the end of the movie. I'm like, oh wow, like I guess no more Doc Ock. He's gone. So because you can imagine when he came back in No Way Home, that was wild for me. That was wild. That whole movie was wild. But yeah, Harry, the finally seeing let's see who's behind the mask and seeing that he actually pulled it off. I don't know why I expected a different outcome because he in all the trailers he basically pulled it off. Um, then the Green Goblin returning. Oh my goodness! I saw Norman in that mirror, and then Harry found the lair. I was like, that was crazy. That was crazy. Um, so yeah, that movie was insane. I loved it so much. For the longest time, I considered it the best Spider-Man movie um, ever. It's still really high up there. But I think Into the Spider-Verse knocked it down for me because Into the Spider-Verse is just pure perfection. But yeah, for the longest time it was because to me and to a lot of people the greatest comic book movie of all time. Spider-Man 2 was incredible and still holds up to this day. My goodness, it's a great movie. But yeah, the hype train, the figures. Can I be honest with you, true believers? I'm gonna tell you the truth. The Doc Ock figure you see me use in my videos. That's the only Spider-Man 2 figure I own. That's it. That's it. The Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man figure that I was using before I switched to the Hasbro 3-pack one, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, he is using the same mold as the Spider-Man 2 figures, the same Toy Biz mold, but it's actually a Hasbro re-release that I got at Walgreens like sometime in the like 2010s or something, maybe a little earlier. But I feel I feel guilty. I feel like I betrayed you. I didn't like I actually I've mentioned that in comments when people inquire like, "Oh, where'd you get that?" Like it's actually has a review. So I didn't lie about it, but like yeah, that's because I was a foolish young child and I said, "Oh, I already have a Spider-Man from the Spider-Man 1 movie, so I just need Doc Ock." Stupid, stupid, stupid. First of all, the costume is completely different. Like, but I was young and it looked the same to me. I didn't notice the back spider was completely different. The front spider is different. The the differences become more nuanced, but the big obvious one is the back spider. I was dumb because it's smaller and fatter on the Spider-Man 1 costume, but it's like longer and thinner on the Spider-Man 2 costume. Oh, so and there were several I wanted though. I wanted the pizza scooter Spider-Man. I still want him. If I find that pizza scooter Spider-Man, like I can rest in peace. No, there's one where is Spider-Man and he has the billboard with Mary Jane's face on it from the movie, from the place she was in. If I find that figure, I will stop collecting action figures because that is the one I wanted the most was the one with the Mary Jane billboard because when I was playing Spider-Man 2 with my toys, my Doc Ock toy and my Spider-Man 1 movie Spider-Man, when I used to play, I used to like reenact the entire movie like scene for scene and I really wanted that billboard so that I could have Peter and the pizza scooter so I could have Peter driving past the billboard like the beginning of the movie, but it did and now the pizza scooter is like $500 or whatever on eBay and whatnot. And I honestly have yet to find the freaking Mary Jane billboard like anywhere for sale. If those two are like holy grails of mine. If I find the pizza Spider-Man, but even more so the Mary Jane billboard Spider-Man, I will be so happy. I will be the happiest Spider-Man fan on the planet if I get any one of those two. But yeah, um, so yep, that sucks. The only Spider-Man 2 action figure I have is Doc Ock, but that Doc Ock is pretty hot, highly sought after figure. I mean, Hasbro did just put out a Doc Ock from No Way Home, which actually had Spider-Man 2 branding on the box. So I'm like now I'm glad that people have an option for Doc Ock if they didn't get that one, if they weren't alive or collecting back in the day. So that's good. I'm glad that Doc Ock is out, but I'm also glad that I have my Spider-Man 2 Doc Ock because he's great. He's great. I also remember the Lunchables had they had these little changing cards. What's the word? Lenticular, the changing picture thing, holographic things. I went to college for 5 years, folks. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. When you hold it and you do it, and the picture changes. They each had a scene from Spider-Man 2 on it. Um, and they came in Lunchables, and there were 6 of them. And I think I personally got like one of them out of a Lunchable because my parents didn't buy Lunchables that often, and so I'm like, I gotta get all 6 of these. So whenever I was at school and I saw a kid with a Lunchable, I would like scoot next to him, like, hey, this is that a Lunchable you got there? Like, yeah. I'm like, oh, cool, 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 cool. So you got the Spider-Man 2 card in there? Like, yeah. I'm like, oh, sweet, 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 sweet. That's great. That's great. That's great. So you're planning on keeping it? Like, just take it, Josh. I'm like, thank you. And I did that. I hustled and I bullied and I haggled until I collected all 6 of those cards. I think my brother actually was shooting for me. He got one from one of his friends at lunch, and I think my teacher gave me one. But I did not stop until I had all 6 of those dang cards, and I am so happy. I'm so happy. I will keep them forever. I will keep them forever. That is great. Um, I can't really think of anything else. I got the Spider-Man 2 soundtrack where I listened to Vindicated constantly because I loved that song. My grandma bought that for me. Actually, she bought me the Spider-Man 2 soundtrack. The CD is still sitting in my car. Whenever I want to hear Vindicated, I put it in and I listen to it. Um, yeah. I got Spider-Man 2 on. Did I get Spider-Man 2 on VHS? No, I didn't, because we had DVD at the time. So I remember Spider-Man 2 was actually like the last movie I remember coming out on VHS, honestly. Because after Spider-Man 2, I didn't see really many more movies coming out on VHS, so they probably phased it out around 2004 and made the complete switch to DVD. But I remember getting the DVD, and it had the slip case with the Spider-Man holding Mary Jane. That was my favorite poster from that movie. Was Spider-Man swinging with Mary Jane. Um, but in Spider-Man 2 had some banger posters, like the Doc Ock one. I betrayed my brother to get the the one. And Doc Ock was always like in his eye whenever Spider-Man was on the poster swinging. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's all the memories I have from Spider-Man 2. 20 years since that movie came out. That's insanity, true believers. I am getting old. My goodness. Um, yeah, so what do you remember about Spider-Man 2? Did you go see it in theaters? Were you old enough? Did you see it later? Did you like tell me go to the Facebook blog, vote in the weekly poll. Tell me about your Spider-Man 2 movie experience when you first saw it, how you first saw it, what you remember from it, all that jazz. Until then, I guess that's it. Face front, true believers, and I'll see you in the multiverse.